you're free from parental authority, you become responsible for organizing your own life. Think about this for a moment. Think about if your parents went on a long trip. At our house, I didn't say this, but Charlie and Sam would be happy they would not have to shower for like weeks. At some point, though, there wouldn't be any food in the refrigerator. And at another point, even beyond that, they would begin to wonder where to look for answers. The internet? The neighbor next door? And that's really the question for the year here at Acton. When does a hero submit to authority? Another way to say that is, where do you find the truth? So if you're not going to be bossed around and you're going to be your own boss, you have to learn where to look for truth and where to look for direction. And that's really what the whole year is going to be about. And so the question for you in the studios, or will you end up with a free and virtuous society like that envisioned by George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, or you will descend, as we have descended in the middle school, into Lord of the Flies anarchy, where the tribes sometimes split into warring factions. Or, as has also happened in the middle school, will a few mall cops rise up as sort of a third world dictator, only to be overthrown by the mob? So, our question is, when you turn to your own authority, what do you do? Some of the big questions we've posed in the past, for those of you who haven't been here, this overarching question is really designed to help you find your way on the hero's journey, are, can a robot become human? That was one of our first questions. Meaning, really, what does it mean to become human? A second one, does power corrupt? Not only the power of political power, but what about energy? What about pollution? What about, so does power corrupt? The third question, does the past determine the future? One of my favorites. And then last year is, how do you motivate a hero? So this year, when does a hero submit to authority? Each of these, in this year, you invite an exploration of science and history and practical lessons to deliver 21st century skills. For the hero's journey here, for those of you that are new, is all about learning to do, having the courage to actually do something you haven't done before. And by the way, all of you that are here for the first time as Eagles, like Ellie, like you, it's really scary the first day, and then it's really fun. So you've got the courage to make the first step to come here, and all year long, we're going to have the courage to do things we haven't done before, and then learn to be, have that really change our character and change our habits, and also learn to learn. Learning to know, like facts and stuff, we can look that up. That's not easy. But learn to be, learn to do, learn to learn are the things that school's founded on. All right. Now, back to how do we find truth in a hero's journey. How do you know when to rebel, as some of you teenagers will begin to do soon? How do you look for struggles in self-governance and time management, the things the middle schoolers told us were the most important lessons they've learned? Where might you stumble across wisdom from an adult, whether studying the lives of heroes in the past, or surprise of all surprise, maybe even from a guide or a parent? Now, here I want to clear up a little misconception before I release you. We have gotten in the habit of saying, don't listen to guides, don't listen to adults. That's really what we said. We just said adults, guides don't answer questions. There's this misconception that adults can't help. So, yes, guides are never going to answer a question. We pose the questions and trust you to find the answers, except for fulfilling the promises we've made to your parents. We've tried to remove the petty tyranny of an adult paid to lord over you in the studios. But that might lead to the misconception there's no adult help available. Think about it. You guys don't have one teacher. You have thousands of teachers. Every expert on the internet, anybody that you want to see as an expert. You have guides all throughout the community. You have mentors. You have reach outs. So this idea that you don't look for adults, this year we're going to say, which adults do you listen to and why? And which do you turn away from? In traditional schools, that authority is chosen for you by a large bureaucracy and someone who cannot be fired. Here, you're in charge. So who will you engage to find the truth? Which hero from the past, which deep book, which expert, which mentor will you turn to in an apprenticeship? That's the question. All right, before we close, I want to ask a question of the parents. As a parent, I find myself torn between two impulses, particularly this time of year. We just sent our daughter off to college, so it's one of those times where you're torn between these impulses to want to form them into who I want them to be, or celebrate their genius and curiosity. And as much as we talk about this, I'm still torn with that every day. I'll tell you, my father only valued me for when I did something right. Never really cared who I was. It was all about what could I do to reflect glory to him. And that's true today. He learned that from his father, by the way. The question for all of us, really, is can we take this word, the root of the word authority, which is author, and celebrate the children as they find their own paths, which may really be different from our dreams for them. I mean, as long as they live in our homes, we do have the ultimate authority. We pay the bills, right? But I can tell you with our daughter leaving, that ends pretty soon. And so before long, we're going to have to offer choices and natural consequences instead of being petty dictators ourselves. Can I allow Charlie and Sam and Tate to fail, dust them off, and send them back into a challenge? Or will I emasculate them by trying to fight their battles for them? Because I care more about my image as a successful parent than I care about their future. Can I praise effort and hard work instead of success? Because in the end, I care more about their character than I do a report card or a standardized test. Can I put aside my own fears and hang-ups, which rise up all the time, and stop comparing our children to others and pointing out where they're falling short? And finally, am I ready to laugh out loud when I hear a snide remark by a neighbor about the absurdity of a school without homework or report cards? And perhaps I'm not as innocent as I may say, because sometimes I like to just ask a question like, well, so how does your child like school? Do they really love to learn and go every day? Or is your child asking deep questions instead of worrying about making an A+? Or does your child actually know how to land an apprenticeship and get a job so they won't be moving back onto your couch in a few years? So I'll end this. Eagles, parents, we need your help to remind us, or Eagles, we need your help to remind us as parents to allow you the dignity to choose and to fail and to struggle and to face real consequences, even when it's hard. Ultimately, to trust you enough to allow you to fail because it makes you stronger, wiser, and ultimately even more kind. Even more importantly, where will you look for truth? Who will be your authority? For me, it's God, even though I forget that a lot. But at this school, we're not a religious school, so we're always asking. I even think faith should be questioned. We should be skeptics asking, where's the proof? Not cynics who don't believe anything, and not idealists who will believe anything. So that's the question of the year. We'll now adjourn to elementary and middle school studios. No more being bossed around. But now you have to begin discovering the truth for yourself. Welcome to the hero's journey in a new year at Acton.